Hello, everyone. My name's Miss Mitchell. I'm going to be reading to you today, The Grinch Stole Christmas. And while we are reading that, afterwards, we are going to work on retelling. So let's go ahead and get started. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. Look how angry he looks. My goodness. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise! Oh, the noise, 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 noise! That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. And look at all of these children playing with all their Christmas toys and the Christmas tree. Everybody looks so happy. But the Grinch didn't like that very much. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, feast, feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And here are some more Whos, and they look like they are ready for a big feast with the roast beast and the Who pudding with their forks and knives ready. Oh my goodness. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. And they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, sing, sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Ooh, he wants the Christmas to not come. How is he going to stop it? I wonder. Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. Ha 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 ha. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick! With his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No! The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Look at how silly Max looks. He looks so confused, like, Grinch, what are you doing to me? Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Look at all of those bags. Those don't even look fun. Then the Grinch said, "Gid ap!" and the sleigh started down toward the home where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. So everybody was sleeping, and here come the Grinch and Max, ready to destroy Christmas. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square. "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Wow, he looks like he is up to no good, and we know he is already. That was his first stop, and he's got these empty bags going down the chimney into other Who's homes. What a beautiful Christmas setup. Look at all of these decorations. And it looks like the Grinch is coming in to ruin it all. You see Who Express for Uncle Who, Auntie Who, Jojo. My goodness, so many presents. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. "These stockings," he grinned, "are the first things to go." Look at all the Who's sleeping, and he is about to take all their stockings and all of their Christmas decorations. So sad. Look, he's putting them in his empty bags. He is taking all of their things, and he looks really happy doing it. That's not such a nice thing to do. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. He's taking their food out of their fridge? Oh no. So mean. He's so mean-spirited. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. Not the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Whoa. That tree looks very sad. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. Oh, there she is, little Cindy Lou Who. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" And it looks like her brothers and sisters and family are all asleep. But, you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there. Then I'll bring it back here. And his fib means a lie, and his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed without her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed that tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. I remember how beautiful it looked in the beginning, and now it just looks so sad and empty. So mean-spirited. And one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Even the mouse is like, what is this? Oh my goodness. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. There's another mouse. And he's like, see you later. I'm taking all your stuff. I'm ruining Christmas. Now look at his sleigh. That looks like something that looks like Santa's sleigh now. But he's taking everything. He's not giving anything to anyone. And he looks pretty happy about that. Look at his red eye. And all this stuff, all the toys, he took everything. It was 1/4 dawn. All the Who's still abed. All the Who's still a snooze. When he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. He took everything. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was Grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo! Look, he's pushing the sleigh all the way up to the top. And he doesn't care that he ruined Christmas. He really doesn't. So sad. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low. Then it started to grow. Look, he's listening. He has his hand up to his ear. So does Max. He's like, what is that sound? What do we hear? Let's find out. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so. But it was merry. Very. He started down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Look at his face. He's like, what is going on? What? I'm so confused. I just tried to ruin Christmas, and it doesn't seem like it worked. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any present at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it just came the same. Look, they're all holding hands and singing. So beautiful. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Now he looks disappointed that he did that, because Christmas wasn't about the presents for the Who's. It was about being together and singing and being happy and celebrating. and he tried to ruin it for them, and now he looks like he's feeling a little bit silly about that. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and look, he's bringing everything back with Max, and he's blowing a horn. He looks very happy because his heart grew 3 sizes. He himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Look at him carving it with the other Whos that he tried to ruin Christmas for, and now it looks like they've become friends. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. Next, we're going to work on retelling. Hi, everyone. So today we are going to be working on retelling a story. So the first thing you should do with your worksheet is write your name on the top. Make sure that you're owning your work. I'll give you about 10 seconds to make sure that your name is at the top. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, pencils down, 1, and 0. So let's go over what we should be doing when we retell. So in the beginning, we have to talk about the characters in the setting. What do we have to talk about? Say it if you know it. We should be talking about the characters and the setting. Exactly. So the characters are who was in the story. And the setting is where did the story take place? Discuss with your class where's the story taking place and who was in the story, because that's what we need in the beginning of a retell. Who was in the story? Where did the story take place? Okay, now that you have figured out where the story takes place and who was in the story, we have done the beginning. We have retold the beginning of the story. Say check. Super, great. So let's go ahead and jump to the problem. What was the problem in the story? I'm thinking about when I think of the problem, I'm thinking about why was the Grinch mad? What was making the Grinch so angry? What was his problem? Go ahead and talk about that with your class and then write down what you think the problem is in the story. Then here are some ideas you can think about for details in the middle. Think about what happened in the story. What did the Grinch do to get a reindeer? Did he get a reindeer? Talk about it with your class. That could be your first detail. The next question that could be asked is, what did the Grinch take with him on his sleigh? That could be another detail. So when he's going to the Who's houses, what did he take on his sleigh? Did he take presents? What did he take with him before he even got into a Who's house? Did he take things for them? Or did he take nothing at all? Think, think, think. Go ahead and think about it with your class. Share ideas. All right, and the last detail for the middle, I want you to think about what did the Grinch take from the Who's? And what did the Who's do when he took things from them? What did the Who's do when the Grinch took things from them? Were they happy? Were they sad? Did they celebrate Christmas still? Share with your class, share your ideas. So now that you've thought about all 3 details in the middle, we can jump to our ending. So I know that the Grinch changed in the story. How did he change? I remember at first, he was very angry and didn't like Christmas. What did you notice at the end? Go ahead and share with your class. Write down the ideas that you come up with, and then draw a picture of the ending, of how the Grinch turns out at the very end of the story. Once you are done with that, you have finished your retell, and you can even color your picture of the Grinch. I hope you enjoyed this story and working on this retell, and enjoy the rest of your literacy day. Bye, everyone.